Right here, the health minister has tweeted out saying, in view of rising COVID-19 cases in some countries, India has reviewed the situation with experts and officials today. COVID is not over yet. I've directed all concerned to be alert and strengthen surveillance. We are prepared to manage any situation. This is Health Minister Mansukh Mandaviya, who has now put out a tweet reminding people that COVID is not over, that some countries are reviewing the COVID situation. Experts and officials today have met. I have decided all concerned to be alerted and surveillance must be strengthened. We are prepared to manage any situation. This is a huge declaration coming in from the Health Minister Mansukh Mandaviya on Twitter right after a high-level meeting that the government has held. Milind Sharma joining us for more on that. Milind, we hear that there was a meeting that was held with all the health officials, the health minister itself, to try and understand how bad is the COVID situation globally and what can India do to be prepared.
Well, yes, Nabila. In fact, the meeting has just culminated between the health ministry officials as well as officials of the NCDC and ICMR that are very crucially working since the pandemic began to track variants and genome sequence those positive samples that must have emerged in India. The worry right now is that whether there's a mutant variant or some kind of a variation in the sequencing of the COVID-19 Omicron sublineage that could have entered India. We're looking at the situation in China. The meeting has just happened, and of course what we are looking at perhaps is some kind of a mandate that will be relayed to the public in India, because you see we're not wearing masks anymore and we're not following social distancing as well. So that would perhaps be one of the point agendas in the meeting. We'll just from a short while from now, we'll see Dr. V.K. Paul, who's the head of NEGWAC as well as the head of health for Niti Aayog, address journalists outside the health ministry at the moment on the briefing that has happened within the health ministry. And also for a fact that whether rules need to be strengthened again when it comes to the aviation sector, whether airlines will need to have some kind of guidelines put forward for passengers once again. And as we're looking at a deteriorating situation in China, not just China but the United States of America as well. So what kind of mandates will be given to people here? Of course, one of the pointed agendas of the meeting was also to discuss the level of vaccination in the country and the level of vaccination now required. Remember that the vaccines that we have already used up for the people. The companies here in India had stopped, producing more vaccines because there was no uptake in vaccination after a point of time. A certain percentage of the 60+, the most vulnerable, are already vaccinated with the precautionary dose, or called the third or booster dose in India as well. So these are the points that have been discussed perhaps in the meeting, and we'll know more once Dr. V.K. Paul comes out of the health ministry and gives the media a briefing of what seems to be the mandate from here on. How can India prepare better as compared to countries like China and others where we do have good vaccinations compared to them, Nabila?
All right, this is a huge development coming in. Health Minister Mansukh Mandaviya has now put out a tweet after a high-level meeting on COVID preparedness in India amid this global concerns of a COVID surge. Here our Health Minister says India is prepared. COVID is not over yet. Almost a declaration that there could be some norms and measures that India could adopt in the days to come.